And hi, Savannah. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk on this fine Wednesday afternoon. And it is May the 2nd, 2018. You are listening to WRUU LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And before I get to my show here today, I want to just tell you that the viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. And it is now 12:07 p.m. You have just gotten over the hump of hump day, and not that much longer till the end of the week. And for today's show, I'm actually kind of winging it. Didn't have as much time to prepare as I thought I would. So I'm going to answer some questions today from my YouTube subscribers, my emails that I've gotten, and kind of just attend to those unanswered questions that I've had in the last couple of weeks that I've been kind of negligent to answer. But before that, we're going to get you some nice vibes here. And that was Laid Back Sunshine Reggae. I actually heard that song recently here on the radio in Costa Rica. Some of the radio stations I listen to when I drive. Anyways, thank you, Savannah listeners, for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer here on this Wednesday afternoon. Today, we're going to be answering questions from subscribers. And I have a few of them that I do need to attend to. And let me just read you some of them, and then I'll give some answers. Hopefully I can answer them properly. The first one is this one. We're going to get right into it here. Hi, Julia. I'm very excited to tell you that I'm attending my first auction in Clayton County, Georgia tomorrow. I'm just going for the experience and not to bid on anything, but once I get a better grasp on everything, I plan to start making moves on property soon. I owe my tax lien education almost entirely to you. So thank you for the videos and the radio show. I do have 2 questions that I hope you could address before I go tomorrow. I've picked out a couple properties that I'm interested in for this auction and researched them to the best of my limited ability. I've listed them, checked the neighborhoods, and set a max bid for each. My questions are, at what point should an investor get a title search on the properties they are interested in? And are your books available on iTunes or just your website? Tomorrow will be sort of a mock auction for me as I follow the properties I'm interested in to see what they go for and what I can expect from the next auction. Thank you for your time and wisdom. This is such an excellent input here. And I really commend this person. I don't know who this person is. Their username is RKID5150. It's from a YouTube video that I received a couple days ago. And first off, the awesome, excellent thing about this comment is that this person is actually taking the time to go to an auction. And even though they're not dead set on buying something right away, they're going to get in the car, they've done the research, and they're going to go to the auction no matter what. And not with the expectation to make any money or buy anything, but actually for the education. And I can tell you, all my listeners here, I do a lot of tax sale foreclosures. I go to a lot of auctions. I was at an auction myself yesterday right here in Chatham County. This is the best way for you to learn, is to go and to do it. And if you don't know, when you're there, ask people. Ask the people that are conducting the auction. Ask the other people that are standing around. There's always going to be somebody who's going to be happy to help you with whatever. So let's pick apart the questions here a little bit. The first thing I want to comment on is... she said that, or she or he, has already picked out a couple properties for this auction and researched them to his or her limited ability and visited them, checked the neighborhoods, and set a maximum bid for each. So this is one thing that I always recommend to new investors. Usually before an auction here, especially we're talking about the state of Georgia here because this is a question from Georgia and I am in Georgia also. You will usually get a list about 4 weeks ahead of time before the auction, and it will have all your properties on there that are going to be going up for auction. Now, mind you, up until the very last hour before the auction, the owner can come and pay off their tax lien before the property is cried at the auction. So the list that you have may not be the final list. It might be the intermediate list. The very last list, you won't know what that's going to be until you actually show up at the auction at the courthouse steps. Here in this case, in Chatham County, it's actually under the tree that's in front of the courthouse there. And you won't know which properties will be auctioned off because some of them will be they will be taken off the auction. They'll be stayed, basically, that for whatever reason, the taxing authority may pull those properties and cry them out at a different date, or the taxes may just be paid off and they may not be cried that day at all. So the good way to approach this is not just to pick out a few properties and kind of research them only. It is really necessary to look at all of them. Now, that doesn't mean you have to drive to all of them. That doesn't mean you have to do a property title search on all of them. It's just you should really look at all of them. And it's very easy to do online these days. I've actually met 2 individuals yesterday that have gotten my contact information, and they stated that they spent 3 hours the night before looking at every single one property. And that's excellent. That's my best advice I can give you is to go in it with another person, because after a while you're going to get droopy-eyed looking at all the listings, and get with them together and research the properties together. Make it a fun activity. Go to a coffee house. We have so many awesome ones right here in Savannah, and get involved and dive into it. This is fun stuff. I'm actually doing this right now for a auction that I'm working on in the state of Arizona. And the auction has actually already happened. There's a lot of parcels that went unsold. And now I'm going to try to find ones that are still decent ones to buy and try to buy them via assignment from the county, which is kind of the same as over the counter. And again, it's a very tedious, a little bit boring activity, but you make it fun. Sit by your pool somewhere if you have a pool, or in a coffee house. I love coffee houses, like I said, here in Savannah. It's amazing. And make it a fun activity, because otherwise you're going to grow tired of it. If you're going to do this for the rest of your life as an investor, you're going to learn how to love looking at properties as much as I do. So let's get to the actual questions here. At what point should an investor get a title search on the properties they're interested in? Here's the thing. There is a way to do a title search on your own. And, well, first off, why would you want to do a title search? Not really exactly sure what this person is asking me. What you need to know, though, is you need a couple of basics about the property when you research them. And this is a little bit of your due diligence there. You need to know where the location of the property is. And it's a little bit easier if it's an approved parcel, because you sometimes, or a lot of times, have the address. You can type that into Google Maps or any of the other websites there, Trulia, Zillow and stuff, and you can pull up information. And if you have like a lot, then it's going to be a little bit difficult, because a lot of times you don't have the address. But in both cases, what you will have is a map number or a descriptive number for that particular parcel. And with that parcel, you will always be able to go online and go to a GIS map. You just type in GIS Chatham County, or whatever the name of your county is, and you type that in, and then you search for the property right there, and you'll be able to see on a map the dimensions of the property or the lot and exactly where it's located. And every county has a GIS mapping system there, usually online. Sometimes you have to go to a government office, a zoning and planning type place, and find it there. But you'll be able to find out where this property is. So that's kind of like part of your due diligence research that you have to do. It's not really necessary to do the title search, because a lot of times with tax sale foreclosure investing, you're not responsible for any secondary liens that are below your tax lien. And tax lien is usually the highest lien on the totem pole, basically. So you don't concern yourself too much with the mortgage or anything else below that. So you go and you do the minimum amount that you have to do per property to make a yes or no decision and a yes or no bid price. So I wouldn't get a title search on any properties necessarily, but I would, if it's available online, and some counties have property records online and for anybody to see, you can of course look at it and see if there's anything out of the ordinary there. But to hire somebody to do a property search, property title search, it's actually kind of expensive, and attorneys do this for, I don't know, anywhere between $300 and $500 or so. And it's part of a lot of the times when you get the property later on and it has not been redeemed, and then you're going to start the legal process of gaining ownership of the property. Then you have to bar redemption rights and do a quiet title. All of this title search is going to be part of that. So don't concern yourselves too much yet with a title search in the beginning. Kind of see if there's anything out of the ordinary, if you can get to it, but go ahead out there and figure out if you're going to bid on it or not, and with the information that you have. So the second question by this subscriber is, are your books available on iTunes or just your website? Well, my books are actually only available on my website at the moment, but there's tons and tons of information on my YouTube channel that's free to watch for anyone, anywhere in the world. And so you can just go there and get a lot of the information there as well. This radio show right here is going to be recorded. It's always on the wruu.org website. You can go back to previous shows that I've done and listen to them as well. And yeah, so that kind of answers this question from Mr. or Mrs. or Miss RKID5150, subscriber on my YouTube channel. And the next question we're going to have is by Shanito Gonzalez, who lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're going to get to that question in just a moment after the song. And that was Tinseltown Swimming in Blood by the band called Destroyer. This is Julia M. Spencer. Thank you back for being here with me with Real Estate Real Talk on this Wednesday afternoon. And we're answering questions from subscribers today. So my next question here is from Shanito Gonzalez. Julia, I'm living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I went to the city hall. They gave a list of cheap houses. They all need repairs. You can make an offer for them, and if they don't like the offer, they just set up an auction. The problem is you need to have the money cash in the bank to basically have a bank lend you the money for this type of house. How can you get a house like that if the bank can't lend you a loan or give you a loan? Please help. So that's a really good question, because now we're talking a little bit about what came first, the chicken or the egg. And in this case, you have to have already good deals. You have to have made already a lot of good deals where you made a lot of money, so you can show to the banks and to private lenders that you're capable of making money and ask them for more money that you can invest. But you can't do that without their money first. So which comes first? So, and on top of that, this person actually asked me this question from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a deed state. So the auctions that happen in Pennsylvania are actually where you can buy and purchase properties right away. There is somewhat of a redemption period in the state of Pennsylvania, in the fact that if the property at the point of auction is occupied, then there's a redemption period of 1 year. If, however, the property is vacant and is not occupied and empty, then there is no redemption period. So, yeah, this is a really good question, because it kind of boils down to don't quit your day job to do real estate investing. And you need to do that on the side first for a while until you figure out how you can actually get the money generated to invest in your real estate endeavors there. And for this particular question, I actually made sort of a video on YouTube that kind of relates to answering that. And it's a little bit broader, but I'm just going to play part of it, and hopefully you can bear with me here. It is called 3 Easy Steps to Start Real Estate Investing Today, and it does address the fact that money is basically the most important, all-encompassing questions at the very get-go. So I'm just going to start that video here, and we'll talk about it right after that. steps on how to start your real estate investing career today. The first step is the ever-encompassing step that everybody needs to check out is how much money do you actually have? I mean, don't tell me right now, I don't need to know, but think about it in your head, how much money you actually have right at the moment. And think of it, how much money do you have right at the moment that you wouldn't mind comfortably doing away with for a little while, because your money in real estate is usually sunk. If you're purchasing tax sale foreclosures, there's gonna be redemption periods. There's periods in which you have to do some legal work. You have to obviously list the property for sale if you're gonna wholesale it. So how much money can you comfortably sink into a particular real estate investment project for the time being? And for the time being, I would say probably about a year. So if you have a couple $1,000s laying around that you don't need for the year, that's the couple of $1,000s that we're working with. Now, in addition, you can always borrow money as well from hard money lenders, or you can, for short term, or you can actually go to banks and get money, but this is like a different story right now. So now we're getting into, okay, what are we actually buying? But how much money do you actually have right now? Once you determine how much money you actually have right now, this is when we're going to start. This is step number 2. We're going to start looking at the different strategies. A couple of strategies, depending on how much money you have, are going to be out of the question. So, for example, if you're looking to flip a home where the initial investment is $150,000 and you need $50,000 in cash in order to remodel it and buy materials and all that stuff, right there you need $200,000. So, you're going to go into that kind of project, you're going to have to figure out some way to get $200,000. And if you don't have it or can't get it any other way, then right there that strategy is out of the question there. And by the way, and that was my video on how to first to determine how much money you're actually going to need for real estate investing. I'm going to take this really brief break here to play you some announcements. It is actually at the bottom of the hour. We will be right back after that.
WRUU listeners like you crave exploration and discovery. That's how we can offer your business or organization a unique way to separate your name from the clutter inherent in commercial radio advertising. Underwriting on non-commercial WRUU will make your name stand out because we allow only a limited number of sponsorships per hour. And your message will be reaching listeners who are actively engaged in programs that demand their attention. Let our team build a customized plan to meet your marketing goals by linking your name to our unique music and talk programs. For more information, email underwriting@wruu.org.
The Ogeechee River Keeper offers monthly canoe and kayak excursions in all of the river's watershed through October. This year's paddles will take adventurers from the river's twisting and turning northern sections near Wadley, west of Augusta, to broad coastal stretches near Harris Neck, south of Savannah. The trips range from beginner to intermediate in difficulty. Boat rental is available. For more information, visit OgeecheeRiverkeeper.org.
And thank you again for being back with Real Estate Real Talk. Let's talk about the other 2 steps that you need to have squared away to start real estate investing today. We're answering a question from a subscriber today who's asked me how to get the money that she needs to invest in her area there in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and that the prices of the houses for auction there are just way too high and she can't get a loan, she or he. And I kind of go backwards a little bit. The money part is only part of the question. There's 2 other things to consider, and here is the remainder of that video that talks about that. One of my very awesome students has corrected me now several times in the way I use the word strategy, because I say it the wrong way. So please bear with me. It's wrong in all my audiobooks and also this video. I'm going to try to say it the right way from now on. So the third step, once you determined how much money you have, what strategy that you can use for that particular amount of money that you have, then you're going to look around, first off, closest to yourself, like your county, your city, your area. If there's a place where you can use that particular strategy in order to make a profit. And it may not be possible. For example, if you live in a really large metropolitan area, with a lot of competition and in auction bidding, for example, or if it's a kind of like a seller's market, not a buyer's market, so it's just not that much inventory right now around for real estate, and everything that's out there people are selling is usually sold for very high or goes very quickly, then that might not be a place for you to invest. So then you need to branch out to areas around where you live, and I would start with the counties that are surrounding and touching your county where you live, and see if your strategy will apply in those particular counties. And if that doesn't work, then go out another layer. And this is how you kind of expand out from where you live. Sometimes you may have to go to a different state because your strategy isn't going to work in your state. For example, if you are living in the state of New Mexico, for example, and your strategy is to invest in tax sale foreclosures, well, in that particular state, mortgages are actually on the same level or even higher than tax liens. So if you buy a tax sale foreclosure, you're also responsible for the mortgage. So that's not a good state to utilize your strategy. So you go to a different state. So very basic 3 steps. First thing, how much money do you have? Figure out what strategy fits that amount of money that you have, and then find an area where your particular strategy will fit and where you can make the most profit, and you work from there. And don't go all over the country. Don't go traveling around and wasting all this money on hotels and airplane tickets and all that. There's different ways to skin the cat right there in your area. Or rather, another colleague of mine had said one time, there is always a way to farm your local area first before you go start farming other areas. And that is my tip for you from today. Here from my backyard here in Savannah, Georgia, and
that was my video on 3 easy steps to start real estate investing today. And just to summarize again, the first thing was to figure out how much money you actually have, then figure out your strategy, and then go to where that particular combination of money and strategy actually works. And it might not be your local area. So that kind of is what answers that question from Shanito Gonzalez, in that don't quit your day job until you figure out those 3 steps, basically. And how do you get money for basically investing into your area there, especially in his area where the houses are just not going for very cheap, and he or she would have to come up with a significant amount of money that's just not available. Well, maybe that is not the area for you to invest in. Maybe you need to go to a different state. And what I kind of touch on in this video is to figure out who or which are the adjacent states around Pennsylvania, and then go check out some of those states and how it's done there. And my goal is always to tell my students if you really want to get into tax sale foreclosure investing, go and pick about 6 auctions in the next 6 months that you can either attend or watch online, and try to pick different states, deed states, lien states, and just immerse yourself basically in the educational experience and do it and ask questions. That's really the best way to learn. You can listen to me, of course. You can listen to other educational products out there, but the best way is to just go ahead and do it. You don't have to buy anything right away. Most auctions, of course, you have to put actually a deposit down, which you will get returned later if you don't spend it. And there's a lot of auctions out there that you can attend online. For right now, actually, if you're listening, you can attend an online auction in Florida that's going on this month. I'm not sure exactly the finishing date, but those auctions are extremely easy to get into, extremely little funds are needed. I actually invested very recently, well, not recently, about 2 years ago, in a tax lien in Brevard County in Florida, and kind of just did it for the educational purposes, bought it for about $100, and I did everything online, and even the redemption was online. So basically, I bought this parcel for $100.
I got confirmation that I was the highest bidder, and I bid 16%. It was a lot, unimproved. And of course, Florida is a bid down the interest state, so I bid the maximum amount. But since I was the only bidder, that's the amount I got. And 2 years later, here just about a week ago, I just got a deposit for redemption. And of course, I got my money plus my 16% times 2 years. So it turned out to be quite a significant amount more than what I invested. Of course, it was a small amount. It was more for the educational purpose. But you can do this from anywhere. You don't have to be in Florida to be able to invest like that. If the interest is what you're out for, that's a perfect place to go. And 16% per year is way more than maybe a savings account can offer you. So again, in summary, if you don't have money to purchase tax sale foreclosures where you are, maybe it's time for you to check out a different state, a different county, a different taxing authority where you may not need as much. And then, of course, at the other flip side of that, you need to also figure out how to get the money to invest. And for that purpose, I actually brought in another video, which I will get ready here in just a moment. And it will basically discuss 5 ways to get real estate investing startup funds, ways that I have used personally that have worked, and the advantages and disadvantages of all of those. But I'll play you a brief song here real quick from the Breeders, All Nerve. And thank you, Savannah, for listening into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer here today on a Wednesday afternoon. You are listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul, and I'm answering subscribers' questions today. And one of the main questions that I get quite consistently and frequently is about how should an investor go about getting money for their first real estate investment purchase. How should they go about that if they can't get a loan or it's difficult for them to get a loan? And how should they go about solving that problem? And I've actually made a YouTube video on that. It is available for anyone in the whole world to watch. It's called 5 Ways to Get Real Estate Investing Startup Funds. It's on my YouTube channel, Julia M. Spencer, if you ever wanted to check it out. I'm going to play part of that right now, and then we're going to talk about it in a little bit more detail. So one of the ways, this is the way that I've actually started. Obviously, I had some money because I had a job. But I basically built up my credit over several years going to college and used credit cards to get cash advances in order to get like the startup cash, obviously, to start my first couple of small deals. That's kind of dangerous because you have to really be careful about those promotion offers that they give you because they expire after a certain amount of time and then you're stuck with really high rates. And you kind of have to keep on top of that and get new cards and transfer balances. There's transfer fees, so you got to be careful. You can actually get yourself into a lot of trouble with credit cards, but it is an option. It's probably not the best option, but it is a option. Another option is to get loans from friends and family. I've done that as well, and basically have them participate in your profits, give them a percentage, and then ask them to invest small amounts, and then, you know, kind of build their confidence in you as you're getting better with the real estate investing, and pay them back, and so that in the future you can ask them for more money. And of course you need to always pay that back, as I always say. If you're renting the property but you don't own where you live, you can ask your landlord to allow you to sublet a room on a popular vacation website such as Airbnb. There's a number, hundreds of others these days for all kinds of specialty types of guests. You can ask your landlord basically to include a subletting clause in your lease, so you can sublet the rooms and make money from that and use that in real estate investing. I used that for many years successfully. Of course, I also owned real estate, and I also rented real estate and sublet it. And I've actually made several videos on this topic. If you go to my YouTube channel, just search for Seed Money in my YouTube channel, you're going to pull up some really cool videos I've made actually in Costa Rica where I describe my methods and my success and how to do that. Another method is to, instead of getting into tax sale foreclosure investing or real estate investing as a whole, try to go into overage investing and go ahead and check that out. I have in my audiobook on how to make money with tax sale foreclosures, there's actually a module there on overage investing. So basically you would be investing in the overage that is paid by any one bidder on any kind of tax sale foreclosures that is held by the county, and you would be working towards recovering that overage for the original owner and collecting a fee. So you don't need any kind of startup money or anything like that for that. And the last option of the 5 is basically if you own your own home, inquire about a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan on your current mortgage so you can use that money to invest in real estate. And I've done that also before. I've actually got home equity line of credit on one of my homes that I had equity in and used that as a down payment on another property, the 20% down payment that you usually have to have if you're getting an investment home. And thanks for listening to that video with me, 5 ways to get real estate investing startup funds. All of those ways I have actually used in the past in order to fund my real estate investing projects. Later on, of course, I don't add this, but I've gotten really good with the vacation rental business, so this is where the funds come from now. Try to live pretty simple life too, not very extravagant, and put a couple of $100 aside every month until you have enough to go to one of those auctions where you can purchase properties. And then from then on, you kind of start the snowball rolling and it gets bigger and bigger. And that's kind of like the goal of real estate investing. And that's how you can also get started if you have little to no money. Now, I want to caution you though, and I wanted to bring this video with me too, but when I listened to it, it didn't apply as much. If you have the goal to become a real estate investor, please don't quit your day job. Don't quit your day job for quite some time. It will be necessary for you to have a standard of living that you can sustain for many, many years to start with, unless you're super successful and you're super good in what you're doing. Don't rely on real estate investing as your full-time career just yet until you figure out what makes you money. So that was my answer to my subscriber here, Shanito Gonzalez from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I would probably suggest for him or her to first figure out how much money he or she actually has available, then figure out if a deed state really is the best option for them, and maybe consider a lien state or one of those auctions where you can go and purchase liens online that are much cheaper, and maybe use a couple $100 here and there for that and get started with that. And once you have some successes and make some money with those, then you can reinvest that into bigger projects. But don't go to the deed auctions just yet until you figured out what you're doing and whether that even works for you in terms of an investment strategy. So thank you for having tuned into Real Estate Real Talk here today on this Wednesday afternoon. My opportunity to talk at you for a whole hour about real estate. I'm so happy to be here. And unfortunately, we have only about 9 minutes left. So I'm going to get to a couple really quick questions here until I get off the air here. The next question I got was from a subscriber left on a YouTube channel called Yashia. Hello, Julia. I have a question. Do you need a registered agent in every state that you do business in? Okay, so I actually, first off, not exactly 100% sure what she means by a registered agent, he or she. Again, I'm not sure if that's a female or male. And, but no, you don't need a registered agent in every state you do business in. However, if there are things that you need to do in other states, you kind of need contacts there. So if you have real estate property that's kind of far away from where you are, for example, in my case, I have property in Macon, Georgia, which is a 3-hour drive from where I live. So yes, I need to have somebody there that can maintain it, somebody that can go there and look at it if something's wrong, kind of be there available pretty quickly, much faster than I can be, and somebody who can fix any major problems should they arise. And hopefully also a property manager, although I tend to manage my own properties online these days, and it's much easier. And so no, you don't need a registered agent in every state, but you do need help in every state that you do business in, unless you want to spend a lot of time traveling. And let's see, we have another 7 minutes or so, so I'm going to squeeze in this one last question here. Wanted to get into, hi Julia, is from a person called Vikas Madan. Hi Julia, I have $50K to invest in a good, clean, and safe deal without any risk of mortgage people taking or claiming it back. My interest is in Howard County, Maryland. If anything comes up, let me know. Vicky. All right, Vicky. So here's an oxymoron here. A good, clean, and safe deal does not really exist in real estate investing. At least, very rarely. I mean, you have to be very diligent in trying to find that good, clean, safe deal. But what we're talking about here is an individual, a person who has $50,000 to invest and is looking at doing a tax-sale foreclosure investment. This is where you as an investor, if you're listening in the Savannah area or if you're listening to this recording, this radio show later on my YouTube channel, these are the kinds of people that you need to seek out, like Vicky here, that have money to invest and want a safe deal. And what I will tell you right now, and this is something I've learned from a professional real estate investor that has been in business for 40 years. He said the most money that you'll ever make is not by the deals that you do with your own money, but the deals that you do with other people's money. And cut yourself into that with a portion of the proceeds. So this is a lesson I'm currently learning. I'm passing this on to you as I'm learning it. So the best thing is to get people like Vicky, private investors, on your side. Try to recruit them. You can do this, of course, by showing them successes that you've already had. Maybe start like something like a portfolio of properties that you've bought and sold and the profit margins that you've made, and kind of like lay it out for them. Okay, these are the deals that I have done. This is the profits that I've made. If you want to invest with me, contact me and we're going to get the details all sorted out. And you do the investment. I'll give you the recommendation. You do the investment and you cut me in for a portion of your proceeds. And that's really the way to make money with real estate investing these days. Anyways, that was my very last tip here for you today on Real Estate Real Talk on WRUULP today. I am almost at the top of the hour. Couple really brief announcements before I go off the air. My name is Julia M. Spencer. You can reach me by emailing me at realestate@juliamspencer.com. Real Estate Real Talk, my show is on Wednesdays at noon, shortly after noon, every Wednesday. It's broadcast live right here from Troop Square in downtown Savannah. I will be on the air again on May 14th and 21st to host music shows. So if you want to listen in on those, you can also stream online, WRUU.org. You can stream any shows there online as they happen. And the next show on this station will be Jazz Brunch, hosted by Dave Lake. And I look forward to get your comments, questions, suggestions, and leave me more comments on YouTube. This is where all my content comes from. And if you want me to make a show about another topic, any topic that you have interest in, let me know. Send it to me. And right here for Savannah listeners, right here, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an awesome, fabulous rest of your Wednesday. And want to just tell you that the viewpoints expressed in the preceding program were not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. And let's see. I'm just going to chime out here for just a few more seconds with a song by Weezer. And it's called Happy Hour. It's going to come soon, folks. Happy Hour. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.